Landform is our topic that we are going to cover today. So here we will see different types of landforms. So we will cover the mountain, plateau, plains and desert. Okay. So in the mountain we will see the example, the different types of example of the mountain, then young full mountains, old mountain environment, and then what are the people they are living there. Okay, then in plateaus also we will go through the same. We will see the life of the plateaus also. Plain, what is a floodplain, and then what is the life, and then finally the desert. So we are going to cover this different types of landforms. So let us start. Now before starting, let us try to understand what is the definition of a landform. What is a landform? A landform is a physical feature on the surface of our planet Earth. Okay, so it is a physical feature on our planet Earth. So that is a natural process on the surface of the Earth. Okay. So landforms take shape over millions of years and have a significant connection with the environment and life. Now it is not a just single day result, it has just take over a long period of time. Millions of years have been taken and a significant connection with the environment and the life. So after millions of years we have seen these different types of landform and it has a significant connection with the environment and the life also, okay, with the living things. Landforms have different climates and are home to a variety of flora and fauna. So these different types of landforms have different climates, like the plateau have different, plain have different, desert have different, the mountain have different. Not only this, they are the home of different types of flora and fauna, the plants and animals. Humans have adapted to all landforms, but the number of people living on different kinds of landforms varies throughout the world. However, humans have adapted the landforms, but the quantity of the people living in the different types of landforms varies throughout the world. So it may be more or less in each and every landform in each and every country. Now, landform can be divided into three categories: mountain, plateaus, and plain. Let us see. Mountains are landforms that are much higher than the surrounding landscape. So whatever the landscape, surrounding landscape will be there, it will be at much higher height. They can be recognized by a broad base, steep slopes and a narrow summit. Okay, so their base will be broad and their the slope will be steep and a narrow summit will be there. Depending on their height, some mountains are covered with snow. At lower altitude, the snow melts every summer and turns into water that feeds river. Okay, so at lower altitude what happens, the snow melts every summer and turns into water that feeds the river. At high altitude the snow may never melt, leaving the mountain permanently snow capped. But in the higher altitude what happens, this snow may not never melt, and what happens, it will be like a cap, snow cap at the top of the mountain. Other highlands with lower height, less steep slopes and rounded tops are called hills. Okay, now other highlands with lower height, they have less height compared to the mountain, then the slopes are also less and the tops will be rounded, okay, not pointed, that will be rounded, are called hills. Most of the world's mountains are grouped in mountain ranges such as the Himalayas in Asia, the Alps in Europe, and the Andes in South America. Some of these ranges stretch for thousands of kilometers. Okay, so the range of Himalayas, the range of mountain ranges, they have been stretched for thousands of kilometers. Okay, so this is about the mountain. Now let us see some examples of mountain. Mount Everest between the Tibet, China and Nepal, and Kanchenjunga between Nepal and the state of Sikkim are the two highest peak of Himalayan range. So if in the examination it may will ask for the example of two highest peak of Himalayan range, then you have to write Mount Everest and Kanchenjunga. Mount Concagua, South America, that is there in the South America, is the highest peak of Andes. Okay, again it may be also there in the MCQ questions or in the fill in the blanks, so keep it in mind. Okay, now Mount Kilimanjaro in Eastern Africa is an isolated mountain that is not part of any range. So Mount Kilimanjaro is an Eastern African and it is an isolated mountain that is not part of any range. Mount Blanc in Western Europe is the highest mountain of the Alps. Okay, so this is the highest mountain in the Alps. Again, Anamudi, that is in Kerala, also known as Anai Peak, is the highest mountain in South India. So these are important from the examination point of view, as the example may be asked. It may be there in the just state true or false also in the match the following or MCQ questions, isn't it? So keep it in mind all this example. Now what is young fold mountain? As the name indicate, it must be young. Mountains with tall and sharp peaks like the Himalayas are relatively young, which means that they were formed recently in the earth history, but that is still millions of years ago. So those mountains that are recently formed, but even though that is a millions years ago, that type of mountain is known as young fold mountain. Okay. Now what is old mountain? As the name indicate, it might be old. Shorter and more rounded mountains and hills like the Aravalli range are much older and have been rounded by erosion. So that is known as old mountains. They are too old, and they are the example is Aravalli range. Okay. So this is Youngfold mountain. Now what is the environment in the mountain? Let us see. Mountain slopes are often covered with type of forest called mountain forest, where conifer trees such as pine, fir, spruce and deodar are common. Now these conifer trees grow tall and cone shaped with thin pointed leaves. So these are the conifer trees are found in the mountain. At higher altitude, the trees give way to grasses, mosses and lichens. Okay, so here also the trees just give way to the grasses. You will see the mosses will be there and the lichens will be there at the high altitude. Okay, in the mountain. Deep forests, flowing rivers, lakes, grassland and caves in the mountains are home to diverse fauna. For example, golden eagle, snow leopard, the grey fox, etc. So these type of the bird and animal you will see in the mountains. Okay. So here we will see a diverse fauna, lot of variety of animals we will see, bird and animal. So this is the mountain. Now let us see how the people live here in the mountains. The mountain terrain is usually rugged or rough and has steep slopes. This means that regular farming can only be practiced in some valleys. Okay, so steep slopes are there. So farming is not possible at the mountain, but at the valleys people can do the farming. Cultivation is practiced on the slopes by cutting steps into the slope, that is terrace farming. So terrace farming is common here where the slopes are cut into steps and the cultivation is going on. Tourism is also an important source of income for the people living in the mountains. So tourism is also one important source of earning. The cliffs, mountain air, scenic beauty, sports such as skiing, hiking, mountaineering and paragliding attract many tourists. So apart from this, the other people, they also visit mountain because of the scenic beauty and then the some sports also, okay, like the paragliding, skiing, hiking and mountaineering. Not only this, pilgrimage to holy sites also attract people to travel to these mountains, like the Amarnath and Kedarnath Yatra, isn't it? So they are there in the mountain. So due to its pilgrimage site, due to these holy sites, people also attract and go to the mountain. Okay. So this is the mountain where we have seen few examples. Then what is Youngfold mountain, old mountain, then what is the environment of the mountain and the life of the mountain. Let us see plateau. A plateau is a landform that rises up from the surrounding land and has a more or less flat surface. Some of its sides are often steep slopes. So it is just surrounded by land and has more or less flat surface, that is known as plateaus. Okay. Like mountains, plateaus can be young or old in terms of her earth history. So here also plateaus can also be young or in old also. Example of plateaus are Tibetan plateau, the largest and the highest plateau in the world, and the Deccan plateau. Okay, so these are the examples of the plateau. The heights of the plateau can vary from a few hundred meters to several thousand meters. Now the height of the plateaus, so some of the height may be there in the 100 meters or some may be 1000 meter. Okay, so it may vary from 100 to 1000 meter. Plateaus are rich in mineral deposits. They have been called storehouse of minerals. Now, it is important which landform is known as the storehouse of mineral. Then you have to write plateaus are rich in mineral deposits. That's why they have been given name, that is the storehouse of minerals. Mining is a major activity on plateaus where many of the world's largest mines are found. Okay, since these are the rich in mineral deposits, so mining is major activity. East African Plateau is famous for gold and diamond mining. In India, huge reserves of iron, coal and manganese are found in the Chota Nagpur Plateau. So the Plateau area is there, and that is a just deposit storehouse of mineral. That's why mining is common here. Okay. Now let us see how people used to live here. The plateau environment is very diverse across the world. Many plateaus have a rocky soil which makes them less fertile than plains and therefore less favorable to farming. So since the plateaus are rich of minerals, so here farming is less, and moreover the soil are less fertile, so mining activity is major here. Exceptionally, lava plateau that is formed through volcanic activity is good for farming as they have rich black soil. So lava plateau is there, even though it is a plateau, but it is rich in black soil, so that is very good for farming. Okay, that is an exceptional case. Plateaus are home to many spectacular waterfalls. The Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River in southern Africa, the Hunru Falls on the Subarnarekha River in the Chota Nagpur Plateau, and the Jog Fall on the Sarvati River in the Western Ghat are a few such waterfalls. Okay, so we will see a good number of waterfalls. Just natural scenic here. Plateau just offer us this one. The Nokalikai Fall dropped down 340 meters from the Cherrapunji Plateau in Meghalaya. It is also a fall, and that is really very much famous. Okay, so this is about our plateau. Now plains. So plains are the landforms that have an extensive flat or gently undulating surface. They do not have any large hills or deep valleys. They are generally not more than 300 meters above sea level. So that is a plain area. Okay. They do not have any large hill or deep valleys. Now what is a floodplains? Floodplains are one type of plains formed by rivers originating in mountain ranges where they collect particles of rock, sand and silt called sediments. So this is called floodplains, okay, where the river originate and they collect particles of rock, sand and a silt, and a area has been developed, that is by the flood, that is floodplain. Now these sediments are carried all the way to the plains where the river deposit them, making the soil very fertile. And these type of floodplains are very much fertile as the sediments is there, and that is good for the farming also. As a result, these plains are ideal for growing crops for all kinds, and agriculture is a major economic occupation in this landform. So in the plain area, agriculture is the main economic activities. Okay. Here that is an economic activities, the economic activities where that activities in return we are going to get the money. So this one I have just covered one topic also regarding the value of work. If you find just want to check that one also, you can check that. Life in the valley plains. So thousands of years ago the first civilization developed around rivers in fertile plains. Okay, so that is the Indus Valley civilization in India. About 40 crore people, more than one-fourth of the total Indian population, live in India's Ganga plain, often called the Gangetic plain. Okay, so here, since it is a plain area, 40 crore people, more than one-fourth of the total Indian population, live in the plain area. The major occupation of people in this region include river, fishing and agriculture. And here food crops such as rice, wheat, maize, barley, millets are grown. Not only this, fiber crops are also seen here, that is the cotton, jute are also grown in the Gangetic plain. Now agriculture is the main occupation in the Gangetic plain. It has turned to irrigation with water brought to the fields through network of canals or pump from the groundwater. Okay, so since agriculture is there, they need irrigation also, and water is brought to the fields through the network of canals or pump from the groundwater. While irrigation has increased agricultural production, it has also contributed to the depletion or decrease of groundwater. High population and pollution are the other problems affecting the Ganga plains. Even though agriculture is common here, due to just lot of irrigation, what happened? There is a decrease in the groundwater. Not only this, high population and pollution are other problem that is affecting the Gangetic plain or the Ganga plain. Whether in mountain ranges or the plains, rivers around the world have carried immense cultural value. In India, numerous festivals, ceremonies and rituals are conducted at such locations. Okay, so it has cultural value also. Because plains have a gentle slope, river navigation is easy and supports a lots of economic activity. Okay, so river navigation is easy, so that's why lots of economic activities are going here. So this is plain. Now let us see about the desert. It is also a landform. So desert is a large area of land usually covered with sand, and that is hot and has a very little water, isn't it? So it is also one landform, and deserts are considered to be large and dry expanses with very little precipitation. Less water is there. Their flora and fauna are also unique since water is not there. So they are unique flora and fauna. Some deserts are hot like the Sahara Desert in Africa or the Thar Desert in the northwest of Indian subcontinent. Others are cold like the Gobi Desert in Asia. So some are hot deserts and some are cold deserts. Despite harsh living conditions, humans have adapted to most of the deserts. In India, communities living in the Thar Desert or migrating through it hold the rich cultural traditions such as folk songs and legends related to the desert. So, however, whatever maybe the landforms are there, people have adapted the environment and they are living according to it. Not only this, the flora and fauna are also different around these landforms, even it is in mountain, plateau, plain or desert. And we have seen how the lifestyle, what is the environment, they are totally different. Okay, so I hope this video is useful to you. So do share and like, share and subscribe if you find it helpful. So let us meet with the next video with the another topic.